You're listening to Heart to Hearts with Erika M, where midlife isn't a crisis, it's a calling. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and oh so real. Let's talk about it, shall we? Now here's your host, Erika M.
Welcome back. It's me, it's Erika M, Heart to Hearts. Our podcast exists, it's still alive. Yay! Here we are, and it's a serious one. Today, it's not a serious one. Let me just go back. It's going to be a heavy one. And as you know, if you've been here before, you know the drill. And we're going to be speaking about everything that's going on today in the world. But mostly, I want to talk about Muhammad, the supposed prophet, which is not the case. And I will show you that. As well as, well, what do we think about it? Is he a man? Is he a myth? Is he a legend? Was he just a political leader? We're going to unpack that. So today, I want to step back and look at something that has been bothering me very deeply, as you can see, religion, the power, cultural takeovers like Islam, Zoran damn fucking mummy, and his stupid wife who liked I don't know how many things on social media that were against the Jewish people in such a way that on October 7th, let me just not get into it too quickly. To the dialogue that, we all have of hatred regarding Muslimhood and brotherhood. Come on, brotherhood? They openly tell us they're going to kill us if we don't believe in what they believe in. They will rape our children, and they do. They marry little girls and rape them. Muhammad, by the way, no prophet but a man, wrote the Quran, supposedly from some, angel of light that gave him some resonance over what he wrote. And all of it, and most of it was written by other people after he died. So fuck off, people, with your religious take and brotherhood and Muslim Islam bullshit. The Sharia law is meant to get men off for free. I'm saying it. Let's unpack this. Before I begin, as you know, my show is Heart to Hearts, Erika M podcast, so welcome. Sorry for the flurry of the intro, but I gotta say what I gotta say. And if you've been here before, as I said before, you know the drill. I sit down with you heart to heart and you come into my house and I pour you a drink or a cocktail or what have you. We sit down and sometimes it's light and sometimes it's reflective and sometimes it's really heavy. And sometimes it's so heavy that people don't want to talk about it. So I pull back the veil. I unearth what people don't like to unearth. I talk about the pink elephant in the room and I roll back the rug. So it's time to grab your drink, pause the audio, get comfortable, because this conversation is going to be heavy, sometimes uncomfortable, and some of you will be angry about it, but I don't understand, because if you are here listening, then you might have some beliefs I have, and if you don't, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because we all have an opinion, and that's great, but when your opinions start to fall into my opinions, and you're forcing that stuff on me, your ideologies, your politics, and your faith, no, that's where the buck stops, and that is not okay, for me or anyone. So trigger warning and my disclaimer, because I have to stay legal. The quick note before anything further, I'm not the attorney. I am not a therapist. I am not a geopolitical strategist or a conspiracy theorist or a religious scholar by any means. So some of this you can fact check yourselves. Like I've done the due diligence. Do it. Please do the due diligence. Read the Quran. Ask your Muslim sisters and brothers. Have they read the Quran front to back? Do they know it really, or is it what they've been told that verse means? Because we're going to break it down a little bit. Not a lot of it, a little bit. But I want to know, those people holding their mullahs and walking around claiming they're Muslims, do they even know what their faith believes in? Most of the men do. So, there I go again. As you know, I'm a truth speaker and I debunk and whistleblow, and I have done so successfully in the past. I'm a grown-ass woman with a voice and here to speak on that spiritually, humanistically, and I'm here on earth in a meat suit, for God's sakes, but I have a voice that speaks for the needless, for the hopeless, for the voiceless, and I do it with the greatest intention of peace and God on earth as we transition forward. So I am a Christian faith, yes, and I live and worship Jesus only. And if you don't know this, I guess my disclaimer is done by now. I in the past, in some of the further opening episodes, I've mentioned a lot about my personal life, and I continually open myself up because I will do so in so that not being hypocritical, not being so, oh, I will ask you to be something that I'm not, but I'm also not going to put myself out there to get slammed and or hurt because of it. So I'm very discerning. But that doesn't stop me from speaking my truth, and it shouldn't stop you. At least I hope it doesn't. And if it does, well, wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to take control. It's time to stand up for something, because if you don't stand up for something, you will fall for anything. I can guarantee you that. There's no white horse coming to save you, to protect you, to lift you up or out of anything. You have to do that for yourself. And the only way you're going to do that is by educating yourself, by teaching yourself, by re-pivoting when you know you've messed up, not running from it, but facing it, being a man and talking about it, having good communication skills and being able to have those debates. Charlie Kirk died for that reason. And people laughed at him. And then they want me to feel pity for the two that died that were out there purposefully with guns, even with a car as a weapon, and then downplay that as something smaller because they have a right to do that. Well, they didn't have a right. And no, I will not protect rapists, and I will not protect the people who are here illegally feeding off of our tax dollars, because it's wrong. And I can't go into any other country and do that. Do you know that? What will happen if I overstay in, say, Afghanistan or Pakistan? Have you done the due diligence to find out what that would mean? So white liberals, especially you ugly ass fat Democrat women liberals, sorry, gonna say it, don't fucking care. Wake up. Who are you fighting against? It isn't Trump. It's everything you can't accomplish in your own life. Everything you don't stand for. It shows, and everyone sees how ugly it is. It isn't because you don't think like me or look like me or like that or like this. It's because you spew hatred and then stand on a fucking soapbox acting like it's made of white pillared light. And you're speaking from the gospel. And all you're doing is spewing satanic hatred painted up as religion or some faith or some belief or some ideology that you believe in all of a sudden. Yeah, okay. I'm so convinced that you know what you're talking about. Sorry, not sorry, saying it as it is. So back to the point. All of this is inclusive because guess what? It is. It's part of the rhetoric. It's part of the, I'm not going to listen because you're not listening to what I have to say and it's not the way that you want it. And I'm sorry and boo-hoo, I'm going to cry over here and then throw things at you and whistle blowing you and get the propaganda bus over here with all the signs. Oh my God, you guys, get a fucking clue. They're using you. And you're taking the bait. And you don't care now, but you will later when you have to wear a hijab and when you're being stoned in the street because you've been falsely accused of having adultery because you were married, you're an adulteress, so now you're being stoned. I mean, that's the Sharia law. If that's what you're okay with, why don't you just move to another country that allows it now? They're happy to take you in and you're going to experience it. All you gay people who support Palestine, go to Gaza. Tell me how that works for you. All you idiots. I'm sorry, but there's no other word to say, but you are an ignorant idiot. Muhammad, he was a man. He wasn't a prophet. He's a glorified man. And he was born around 570 CE. His birthplace was Mecca in present-day Saudi Arabia. And his tribe was Quraysh. If I said it wrong, I don't care. A powerful merchant tribe controlling trade routes and the Kaaba. I don't know how to say all these words, guys. And just so you know, before you start judging me, I am part Lebanese. I am Christian, and I have been Christian since forever. But we're from Lebanon. Never been, wish I was. And I'm also Costa Rican, if you want to know. But I was born here in the United States of America. My parents came legally here, both of them. So they got through the process and they went through everything at a time where it wasn't so easy. I remember when people actually were proud to be American citizens. Yeah, not like Elon Omar or the other ones that are traitors and treasonous in our government. That said, Muhammad in his early life, his father, Abdullah ibn Abd Allah ibn Talib, whatever, and his mother, Amina bint Wahb, And the key facts are his father died before Muhammad was born. Wow, I didn't know that. And his mother died when he was about 6 years old. Listen, guys, I do my due diligence, but you know how much research I have to do to get this out to you? I don't read every single line. Anyway, that it. And I'm not that interested in learning every single detail about Muhammad, to be honest with you. Ugh. He was raised by his grandfather, and his grandfather died. He's raised by his uncle. No wonder he's a fuck up. Anyway, as a young man, he worked as a merchant and a caravan trader. He became known in Mecca for reliability in trade. Some sources say he earned the nickname Al-Amin. Al-Amin, meaning trustworthy. What a joke. He traveled on trade caravans through Arabia and possibly Syria. His first marriage, he had 11, by the way. Muhammad's first marriage was to someone named Khadija. I won't go into the last names because it's going to be like literally trying to unearth a vocabulary I've never heard before. And the Quran, as you know, is not an easy anything to follow. And yeah, it's the central religious text of the Islam. It's believed by Muslims to be the word of God that Muhammad started. So the word of God revealed, I should say, to the prophet. They say prophet, and I don't say him. I do not call him a prophet. I call him a man, and you'll understand why soon. So they say the Quran is the central religious text of Islam, believed by the Muslims, to be the word of God revealed to the prophet Muhammad in the 7th century. And any of those will work. You know, I really don't care what you call him, how you refer to him. He's just a man. Whatever floats your boat, it works. Now, it's said that she was about, I don't even know, to be honest with you. Hold on. The joke of the matter is, this is why I had to pause it for a second, guys. Khadijah was a healthy, wealthy merchant widow. And she proposed to Muhammad. And he worked for her in the caravan trade. I don't know how that worked, especially in that era. He was about 25 and she was about 40. That's the traditional account anyway. And they remained married for about 25 years until her death. Wow. That's an interesting fact. The children he had with Khadijah were sons and daughters. I won't go into their names. Don't care. And let's go into the truth of the matter, okay? Let's get into the meat of it. What is the Quran and what happened and what is all this Muslim brotherhood and all this rhetoric that we keep hearing about this religion? Around 610 CE, when Muhammad was about 40 years old, Islamic traditions state that he was meditating in a cave called Hira near Mecca, and he reported receiving a revelation from the angel Gabriel. These revelations later became what they call now the Quran. Now, Muhammad's message was promoted monotheism, rejected idol worship, etc., and it created conflict with the Quraysh tribe because Mecca's economy depended on pilgrimage to the Kaaba, which housed many tribal idols. So his message of not having any monotheism and rejected idol worship was not accepted. And I guess he walked out of there saying what he had to say, much like now, I suppose. He was always trying to do something, right? Now, there was a migration, Hijra. In 622 CE, Muhammad and his followers left Mecca and they moved to Medina. And I won't go on and on with this. I'll just give you the facts, okay? This event is called the Hijra. It marks 1 year of the Islamic calendar and later marriages. And this is fitting because it is Ramadan right now, which, by the way, I could give two fucks about. Later marriages after Khadijah died, Muhammad entered several marriages. Historical sources list multiple wives, many of whom were widows, women from allied tribes. And I get that could happen back then. I understand where things were different. But people, we have evolved. These marriages were often linked to tribal alliances or social arrangements, and they're still doing that to this day, according to Islamic historical sources. And of course, marriage to Aisha, one of the most debated issues now, and this is where it gets really deep. In Muhammad's life, Muhammad married Aisha bint Abi Bakr. She was the daughter of Abu Bakr, one of Muhammad's closest companions, is said to be his best friend from what I recall. And by the way, I have friends that are Muslim, and I haven't spoken to them about this because, well, it's a very hot topic. We don't walk around doing this, but here we are. The traditional Islamic sources, mostly widely cited that hadith collections including Sahih Bukhari, state that engagement happened at 6 years of age. Now, I want you to look at someone next to you or a daughter, or look at your friends who have children. If you have a kid, look at your daughter. How old is she? Or your sister or your cousin? Are you okay with that? A 6-year-old was engaged to oh my God, I can't even. The marriage was consummated, basically had sex with a 9-year-old. That's what they purport. Now, I don't think he would have waited 3 years. No man does. Muhammad's age was 53. They say about 53. That is fucking disgusting. So a 53-year-old man engages a 6-year-old and deflowers a 9-year-old. That is the facts, guys. I'm not sitting here trying to convince you. You could take whatever you want and make it seem whatever way you want. But it's still happening today, okay? And I will speak on that here. Now, some modern historians and Muslim scholars argue all the time that Aisha may have been older, but possibly her mid-teens. But no, the argument is based on chronological analysis of her historical events, of other historical events. And no matter what, the age 6 and 9 account appears in several early Hadith sources and remains the most widely cited traditional narrative. So anyone coming back to me saying, that's not true, it couldn't have been true. It is true. It's what every man that's in Muslim, Islam, Sharia law-loving freaking world that's promoting all this is doing. How about all the videos we see on the proof of these babies, 11-year-olds, pregnant bellies? Oh my God, I want to vomit. Where's your outrage? Oh, but let me not get into that outrage, because look at Hollywood and look what's Epstein files and look at the baby eating. Oh my God, I can't even get into it. Right now, let's stay on topic because all of it is relevant, by the way. So he did not go on to have children with Aisha, which I find incredible. I truly find that incredible. How that didn't happen, I don't know. But anyway, Muhammad died, thank God, in 632 CE in Medina. And he was about 62 or 63. That poor girl had to live with that man for 10 years. And he's buried in Medina, where now is people call, the Prophet. If I could speak, he's buried in Medina near what is now the Prophet's Mosque. Yeah. How many of those do we have in New York and Texas? So many. In fact, let me find out for you. All right, you ready and sitting down with your drink? I hope you're comfortable. New York City alone has about 275 mosques in the New York metropolitan area. 275 mosques in the New York metropolitan area. One, by the way, sits on 9/11. What a disgrace. When I remember when I heard this about 15 years ago, I go, there's no way that they would allow this after 9/11. No way, no way. Here we are. And who is the mayor of New York City but a 30-something-year-old little punk who had rich parents, who claims to be this socialist, who is a communist, Islamist, Sharia law-loving, 9-year-old loving religion mayor of New York City. Thank you, liberals and white people who did that. Whoever did it, I don't care, white, black, brown, blue, could care less. All of you who did put that man in that place, wow. Just wow. Let me continue. So the borough breakdown is approximate. Brooklyn has 98, Queens has 93, Bronx has 47, Manhattan has 39, and Staten Island has 8. Texas, let's get into Texas because let's not forget Texas. That's what inspired this episode, because after I read what was going on there and how things are going, I just cannot believe the outrage isn't even more. I can't believe how it's going. I can't believe how it's gone and how it's just barely hitting the news the way it has, how it's already been developed thus far and everyone's allowing it to happen. What are we waiting for? About 224 mosques exist right now in Texas since 2020. Jesus. Help us all. And more recent estimates list over 330 mosques and Islamic centers statewide. Summary: New York City roughly has 275 to 285 mosques, and Texas alone in the entire state roughly has 224 to 330 mosques, depending on the source and, of course, the year. Now, Texas also just got banned regarding a Sharia law. Thank God. The Texas law on foreign law in courts in 2017 passed the House Bill 45, and it requires courts not to apply for foreign law if it violates constitutional rights. This includes religious legal systems such as Sharia law, thank God, if they conflict with Texas or U.S. laws, which they clearly do. So the key point of this is that U.S. and the Texas laws always take precedence over any religious law. Thank you, Lord Jesus. So the ban on Sharia-style compounds, 2025, the Texas passed legislation targeting residential developments that attempt to operate under separate religious rules. Yeah, like they're trying to do in Epic. Yeah, look that up. The law was tied to controversy around a proposed development called Epic City in North Texas. I can't make it up. But the new law targets, and I'm reading from my ChatGPT when I asked about the mosque, guys. What the law targets communities trying to create a separate religious governance or legal systems, housing developments that discriminate or restrict residents based on religion, and also political vote on banning Sharia in courts in 2026. In 2026 Texas Republican primary, voters supported a proposition calling the prohibiting Sharia law in Texas courts. Thank you, Lord. The vote was non-binding but showed strong political support for legislation on the issue. Now we need to take it all the way. And so in summary, they're saying that Texas actions on Sharia mainly involve three things: courts that cannot enforce foreign or religious laws that conflicts with constitutional laws and rights, laws targeting religious-governed housing communities, Sharia compounds, and political efforts and proposal to explicitly block Sharia law from Texas courts. Now, I'm liking all that, but it still has to pass, guys. Let's get back to the other part, because it goes back and forth simply because I want you to feel what I'm feeling. Okay, where did we leave off? We left off on his death, which I love. Muhammad, the man, died in 632 CE in Medina. He was about 62, 63 years old. He was buried in Medina, and what they now call the Prophet's Mosque. And historically, the knowledge about Muhammad comes from the Quran, Hadith collections, and early Islamic biographies called Sirah. Now, the examples they've given me are Ibn Ishaq, this 8th century biography, Sahih Bukhari, and Sahih Muslim. These were written after Muhammad's death, okay? After. They're not when he was alive, which is why historians sometimes debate details over the events. So if you want, I can also go into more, but I don't know how much more you want on that. But those are the facts, and I wanted to give you some generality because most people walk around not knowing what the Muslims believe in, or what Islam is, and what is the Brotherhood, and what is the Quran, and who is Muhammad. At least I have. And I'm still learning because I honestly have to educate myself. And I may not be the most educated or the well-scholared on this, so don't hate me. But I'm doing the best that I can. And I believe this to be the actual truth from my perspective based on what I've researched. And note, I understand that the comparisons that I may make may upset some of you, but I'm going to say them. Muhammad was a man. He was not a prophet. So he says that Angel Gabriel came down to talk to him. Really? Okay. Let me say this to the record because the record needs to be stated here. I understand that this is a very important topic for a lot of people, and that for me, my Christian faith holds a lot of life and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and I hold to the historical truths, okay, witnessed and recorded by the apostles and the early followers. And many of us believe, and the believers itself view, that these accounts as reliable testimony and miracles of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which we're in right now. We're in Lent, and I'm comparing it to the Ramadan series because when I ask about Muhammad, okay, and when I talk about the Quran and how it all came about, and I ask who made the miracles and where were they documented and where was the proof? So there is no proof from Muhammad. They will speak that there is. They will claim that something happened, but it didn't. Islamic sources describe several miracles that I cannot believe at all. And they're associated with Muhammad, of course. The Quran itself, they consider a miracle because they say that its language and message are miraculous and that could not have been produced by a human. The night journey, they say, Isra and Miraj, which is traditional texts say Muhammad was taken from Mecca to Jerusalem, then through the heavens in a single night. Where's the proof there? Another story in tall tale. And then, of course, the other tall tale. The splitting of the moon. Some Islamic traditions say Muhammad performed a miracle where the moon split into two. And this is linked in the Quran, verse 54:1. And then there's the water and food miracles. Some hadith or hadith, I don't know how to say it, guys. Accounts describe water flowing from his fingers, food multiplying to feed groups. Now I want to mention something very, very interesting. These accounts come primarily from hadith collections, early Islamic biographies written after his life. And there is no independent historical or scientific confirmation of these events outside Islamic religious sources. Again, let me repeat this. There is no evidence or factual anything other than written by the same people who we are contesting the truth about. There is no independent historical or scientific confirmation of these events outside Islamic religious sources. Okay? I want you to sit with that for a second because I want to go back now and I want to give you some actual facts and comparisons. But before I do that, I just want to say this. I don't hate you and I hope you don't hate me. But the Islamic tradition has a lot of contradictions that I need to unpack. I really need to pull back the veil and say, really? Which I will get into. This is going to be a long one, but how about the sword? Die by the sword or whatever they say. We'll get into that. So the Islamic traditions say that Angel Gabriel, Jibril in Arabic, delivered revelations to the Muhammad beginning around 610 CE. Okay? Those revelations were later compiled into the Quran. And from a historical standpoint, scholars can verify that Muhammad lived in the 7th century and his followers recorded and preserved teachings are attributed to him. Those teachings became the Quran. So we cannot really historically prove or disprove the supernatural claim of an angel delivering revelations or that fall into the category of religious beliefs similar to other faith traditions accounts or divine revelations, but I can in some way. Because if that's the case, let's go backward. Let's go back a little bit because let's go back really back to Jesus in 30 CE. By the way, if you don't know what CE means, I'll let you know in a second. I actually didn't know myself. But Muhammad was born 570 CE. So Jesus was born 30 CE. Muhammad born 570 CE. Now, apparently the first Quran revelation was 610 CE. And Muhammad died 632 CE. I hope I did not mess up this last take because I had to pause it to get a fact here and I got it. But here we go. If I mess that up, sorry, guys. Now where I left off, that I believe I left off, Jesus Christ was crucified. Now, I know that I can't disprove anything, right? The claims, but I've laid it out and I think you can make your own assessment of it. I have. From a Christian point of view, okay, and my perspective, my faith, and other believers, we hold that Jesus Christ was crucified, he died, and he rose from the dead on the 3rd day. Those events are recorded in the New Testament of the Bible, which Christians regard to as authoritative testimony. Yes, we do. From a historical method perspective, historians work differently. They can examine ancient texts, early manuscripts, archaeological contacts, references from other writers of the time. Many historians agree that Jesus existed. He was crucified under the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. And the resurrection, however, is treated as a matter of faith and theology because supernatural events cannot be tested or verified using historical methods alone. Granted, I get that. But the distinction is why scholars phrase it carefully when describing different religion claims, and I get that as well. And I understand it's about how historians evaluate evidence, not about dismissing Christian beliefs. But there's so much evidence to prove that he rose on the 3rd day. The witnesses, the accounts, that didn't happen. You know, I'm going to say my way. They happened as they've been written factually so many times by so many people, not just his little tribe. Not some people who believed in what he believed in, many like the Islamic people today. I truly believe Islam is the devil's work and Satanism wrapped up in Muslim teachings. I believe that Muslim people have been misguided and misled like so many other religions. I don't believe in idolatry. I don't believe in believing in statues or anything other than Jesus. And he stated that very clearly. His miracles to this day are feared. I don't fear Muhammad. I'm disgusted by him and everything he stood for. He doesn't want peace. He didn't want women to have anything. He raped a 6-year-old. As far as I'm concerned, he deflowered her at 9. Really, he waited 3 years because he's such a good man? Can we all laugh together now? Ha, ha, ha. Have you ever known a man to be that way? Come on, look at what's going on, all the exposing that's being done today, that we're all really on a public level realizing how men really think. Not all men. I'm not saying all men. A lot of them. If you go on right now, ask ChatGPT to give you a map of sex offenders or men watching porn, or people. I should say people, not men. Sorry. Most men do this, but there are women who are sick in the head that allow it, enable it, and shut up quietly while it's happening next to him. And those women should be stoned. Listen, I don't mince words here. I don't sit here and try to impress people. I don't care if you like me. I really don't care if you think anything of me or what you think of me. You can sit here and do whatever you want. I'll block you. I have God. I do not fear anything or anyone but Jesus, God. That's it. That's all. I do not fear Islam or its brotherhood. I don't die on a sword. I die for God and Jesus, period. I speak for him here as an earth angel, as a simple human living in a human meat suit. But I'm a spiritual being and I'm here to evolve. So to me, Islam is demonic. And as they state, their primary miracle is considered to be the Quran, which I consider to be a satanic book. Did I say it that way? Satanic. I don't know why I said it that way. Satanic book. And Muslims believe its a language and message is miraculous. It could not have been produced by a human. They say, oh my God, that's all it was. And I've already read the other ones to you that I don't need to continue with. And I think it's time now to get back into the actual meat of this. I'm getting caught up and I want you to understand. I'm sorry that it's going to hit you hard, but I'm going to speak on some other things. You know, speaking on all this and going forward, I think from a Christian perspective, many believers hold that Jesus Christ, of course, is the Son of God and fulfilled prophecies recorded in the Bible. And from an Islamic perspective, followers believe that Muhammad was a prophet who received revelation that became the Quran. Huge difference. And I know those statements described what each religion teaches is not an endorsement for either, but except for my own, because that's what I believe in and that's what I follow. They're not equal or identical by any means. So having to even speak on that level irritates me. When I've done the research and I get back something like, well, Jesus Christ and this person, Buddha and Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. I'm like, he is not a prophet. That's what sparked this entire episode. He is a man who had married a 6-year-old and then deflowered her at 9. Okay, guys? A 50-year-old man, 53-year-old man married a 6-year-old. I should end it here. My episode should just end. Honestly. Because what else do we need to know? What else needs to be said? Now let's start with the other part that I would mention, which was the sword verse. Now, this text often sits at the center of a conversation that can get heated. The Quran, what's that? Oh, it's a religious book for Muslims that they glorify as a miracle, and that their prophet Muhammad was some prophet that was given, all these prophecies on one night when he was stolen and returned by Angel Gabriel, 600, almost 600 years after Christ's death. How convenient, by the same Angel Gabriel. This one passage comes up often and it bothers me. And it's a debate on Islam or whatever. The sword verse is from Surah 9, verse 5. And when the sacred months have passed, then kill the polytheists, wherever you find them and capture them. Let me start that over. And when the sacred months have passed, then kill the polytheists, wherever you find them, and capture them and besiege them and sit in wait for them at every place of ambush. But if they repent, establish prayer, and give charity, then let them go on their way. Did you hear that? That is the verse, Surah 9 from the Quran, verse 5, the sword verse. And when the sacred months have passed, and kill the polytheists wherever you find them, and capture them and besiege them, and sit them in wait for them at every place of ambush. But if they repent, establish prayer, and give charity, then let them go on their way. Yeah, but let's not be naive. What polytheist means is people who associate partners with God. Historically, the term referred to idol-worshipping tribes in 17th century Arabia. So people who basically didn't worship what they worshiped, that idolized idolatry. So if you worship Buddha, that would be you. Or if you're a Christian, that would be me. If you're a Jew, that would be them. Kill them all, ambush them. Isn't that what they're doing? Reality check, yes. Have you seen the UK? It's Ramadan, and Muslims are walking around with videoing people eating in a restaurant, asking them why they're eating. What? Oh my God, when is this going to stop? So another verse discussed alongside its Quran, it's beautiful, religious, miraculous, healthy, loving Quran, 2:191. I don't even know how to quote. Kill them wherever you encounter them, and expel them for wherever they expelled you. Really? These are the passages that often drive these heated debates, and the interpretation, the context, the religious history of this. It's like, it makes my blood boil. Does it not make yours? I hope it does. This is what they're teaching when they're handing out hijabs and flyers and Qurans to our children, like they did in Texas just a few days or a few weeks ago. True story. Yeah. Letting them know about the Muslim Brotherhood in Islam. Kids, hijabs. What are they going to, they came home with hijabs, flyers on Muslim and Islam. What if I gave them a cross, a nun outfit, and a flyer and a Bible? Would that fly? I don't know, liberals, you guys might lose your shit. But it's okay that they go home with a hijab or take off their penises or have transgender hormones flowing through them at 10. Makes a whole lot of sense why you like Islam. And I say liberals because those are the ones protesting and causing all the chaos in this world and dividing us. Those are the demons in meat suits. That's the truth. The Boston in the United States is out of hand. And let's talk about the numbers like I mentioned, the 275 to 330. Brooklyn alone has 98, like I mentioned. Queens alone has 93. Bronx has 47. Manhattan, 39. Staten Island, 8. Oh my God. Yeah. I just have to stop and ask ourselves, what are we doing? What are we doing? Texas has completely gone under in the growth of Muslimhood and communities. It's gone across the state into approximately 330 mosques and Islamic centers. Cities with the highest concentrations include Houston, more than 130. Dallas has 50. Plano has 14. San Antonio, 13. Austin, 12. Arlington, 10. Fort Worth, 9. And the worst part of it is its discussed institutions in North Texas is the East Plano Islamic Center, often called EPIC. It serves thousands of members and operates as a large religious and community hub, they say. I mean, honestly, those are facts. Now, Iran in the current situation, shifting a little bit overseas, Iran is governed as an Islamic republic, established after the 1979 revolution, the takeover, the siege. The country's political system was literally destroyed. And it was, the country's political system itself is combined elections with religious authority is wrong. How are they doing that? That's what they've done. And that's how they've lived. So that's what they're trying to do to us. While we try to separate the two, politics and religion, they've made it one. And they've gone after killing us, our faith, through our territory, and they've laughed in our faces and used our money doing it. How's that feel? So while you're complaining about not having a job and having higher taxes, thank Ilhan Omar, Zoran Mamdani, the dumb fuck with the dumb wife, and his sidekick AOC, who should be fucking, don't even get me started. That dumb bitch. Yeah, I hope you're hearing this. And I will be sending this to them. I have to laugh at myself because I could care less. I really could. At the top of the supreme leader who holds ultimate power of the military and judiciary and key states institutions was a man that was evil. And I applaud his death and all the leaders that both Israel and America took against him. I don't find that to be a light thing. I don't think that death is something we should call upon people. But here's where I stand with anyone that does the things that these people have done to women, to children, to people in general, to boys, girls, women, men. It's unfathomable. I cannot process the things that people do to other people just on the basics, but to do it on a level as corrupt and demonic as Iran regime does and has and continues to try to do is beyond description, I should say. And to see that people support that and that fight against it because they're afraid that we're going to go into full World War III because Israel wanted it, we didn't. I get that. How many millions and billions have we spent on other fucking things? Like, I don't know, transgender condoms, $15 million to God knows what country or whatever community based in India. I can pull up those facts, but that's a fact. Have you guys seen the idiocy of expenditure that we've had with our money that we have no right to get back of? So why are we complaining about doing something that's healthy for us, that's long-term for the futures of American children? Why are we downing this strategic move? Not me, a lot of you. I don't understand it. No, I don't want our children, our American children, to go into war, especially for causes that do affect us, but people are saying don't affect us. Like we said to the Islam Sharia movement, we didn't think it was going to affect us. Look at us 15, 20 years later, 25 years later, literally. New York alone is run by a fucking Muslim, an Islam terrorist after us, stating it daily, bringing in fucking prayer to politics. What the fuck is going on? I'm angry. I'm angry that I have participated in this in even the slightest way, not knowing. So now I'm awake, and I'm asking you to wake up with me. I'm asking you to stand up and say something, do something, speak up. Otherwise, why are you here? Why do you even exist? The morality police in recent years in Iran has faced insurmountable internal unrest. And one major turning point came in 2022. I'm so incredibly mad that I can't even speak correctly. Let me take a deep breath. One major turning point came in 2022. All right. After the death of the young woman named Mahsa Amini. We all know who Mahsa Amini, who had been detained by the country's morality police, literally. Her death has sparked protests across Iran, and demonstrations started spreading through cities, including Tehran, Isfahan, and Shiraz. And many of the communities developed around immigrant populations from South Asia and the Middle East and North Africa. And regions of Kurdistan, protesters rallied under the slogan, Women, Life, Freedom. The government responded, of course, including arrests, internet shutdowns, as usual, and security crackdowns. But it was unstoppable. People were outraged. I will never forget it. On the global, broader spectrum, the conversations were obviously controversial about religion, governance, freedom, and identity. And here we are again today with different stories, same storyline. I guess different societies approach these questions in very different ways. And in today's world, these debates are happening louder than ever, actually. And the landscapes can change like dramatically, and I get that. But honestly, modern political systems are meant for us to actually speak up and say something. I've given you a tidbit, a fraction of what I want to say. And I haven't even gotten into the meat of everything. Our modern political system has to change. And it starts with us. We cannot sit on divided fences because we don't like the way that one looks and the way that one looks. Or that I want you to pay for my transgender. No, you don't pay for my boob job or my Botox. I don't pay for your reconstructive dick. Got it? Okay. Turning into a vagina. Not happening. There are two genders, male, woman. That's it. If you want to be a tranny, go for it. Pay for it. Go somewhere else. Go live in Thailand. They'll love you there. I don't care. And I don't want to not support people who are having issues. If you're a transgender, God bless your soul if you have a head on your shoulders and you're healthy. But show me one or two other than a couple of them. I just said one or two and then I said a couple. Makes no sense. You get what, it's an oxymoron. I get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Show me the majority. Every shooting that we've had has been behind what? Either a Muslim or a transgender. Look it up. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. I'm putting forth information for you to look at, to read. It's on the table. It's up for you to pick it up and read it. My goal here is not to tell you what to think. It's to encourage you to stay informed, to do your due diligence, to be discerning, to be honest with yourself, to look in the mirror and actually talk to yourself and ask yourself if you know who you are. And if you don't, then you have no business commenting on the rest. Because it's like loving someone when you don't even know what love is. It makes no sense, which makes you an imposter. So all these people speaking on these religious soapboxes, speaking of moralities that they can't even confirm, they don't even know what they're talking about. Most of the time, 99 points, they get stopped in a video and they can't even explain to you what they're being asked, but you're standing up there with a fucking sign. I'm sorry, I've dropped the F-bomb way too many times. I'm going to have to put a lot of dollars in that jar. I've been working on it. That all said, I love you guys. And I'm here because I am truthfully here because I'm concerned about humanity. I'm here because I don't like what's going on to children. I think that it's unbelievable that women are being raped and children are being raped and young girls are being raped. I look at little girls now, not in the same way that I have before, where they're so cute, they're so pretty. I'm like, why are they dressed like that? Please don't let them wear those shorts. Don't make them as pretty. Like, I am so grateful that I only had one son and that it wasn't a daughter, because she would live in my back pocket for the rest of my life. And I would protect her to the end of the earth. So women who are not protecting their daughters, shame on you. I don't want to hear any excuse that comes from your mouth. If you participated in anything that allows anything to happen to your daughter or your child, you are complicit and you are just as guilty. If you allow Muslimhood, brotherhood, sisterhood, Islamhood to infiltrate your heart in the evil, demonic ways that they've planned it to be, then you get what you get. And you're going to live that life that I've just described in this episode. If you sign up for Zoran and AOC and Ilhan Omar, then you get what you get. You don't get any empathy or sympathy from me. But I will be damned if I allow it to happen to anything around me that I live in my state. And right now we're fighting a different war here in California. In California, we're fighting Gavin Newsom, the idiot, and Karen Bass, the other idiot. I'm just saying blue states are in a disarray because they don't know what they're doing. And all they do is lie and full of hypocrisies that they think that they're fooling everyone. Nobody's dumb. Nobody not sees it. You can't unsee what you see and you can't unhear what you hear, but you can act like you can. And that's what they do. I stand up because I have a voice and I can. I speak up because I want to. I have an episode because why not? Listen, as usual, I'm sitting here and I'm scratching my head like, did I do the right thing? Did I come with the right message? Am I speaking about the right cause? Am I even making sense? I don't know. You can decide for yourself. But what happens to ideologic and politics and faith when they collide? That's what we're living in. If you don't stand for something, you will always fall for everything. And I have lived by that truth forever. I'm more backbone than most men. I wanted to say balls, and I will. You know what? I have more balls than most men do. I have more confidence than a team. But I'm also humble. I fear God. No human, no, nothing else. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be fearful if someone put me in a position that's compromising. What I'm saying is I don't live in fear. Fear is fake. It's fake evidence appearing real. And that's what the media tries to spin on you. Wake up, smell the coffee, open the Quran, Read it. Find out for yourself. And don't just chat GPT it, because let me tell you about chat GPT. It sucks most of the time. They will give you bad information. They will give you the same thing that they said to tell someone else. Do your due diligence. There are resources out there. And it is not CNN. It is not ABC or CBS or NBC. Go to the independent ones and do your research. Go backward. There's so much more that you can learn from this religious power culture, this dismantling of everything. I don't even know how to put it anymore. Like, what's going on is complete chaos, and I haven't even mentioned the real truth. Like, the world's probably going to come to an end very soon, and we're not going to want to face that. But hey, here we are, and that's not going to get any prettier. It's time. Maybe it's not going to happen this second, but it's going to happen, and it's happening. All the revelations are coming true. Have you guys read Nostradamus and his prophecies? Just saying, you might want to pick that up. That said, guys, I don't really think that there's much else to add to this except a part 2. So wait for it. It's coming. I think right now I'm going to leave you with this part 1 and go from here and see if it even works. Honestly, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming and staying informed, and also being thoughtful enough to just stay to the end if you did. And if you're aware of the world we're living in, add to it. Don't just take. Don't just cause chaos and walk away. Examine yourself and what's happening around you. Ask questions and really be part of the conversation and be part of the change that is productive and moving forward. Find the truth, expose the truth, and stand up for it. Your voice matters as much as mine. This conversation matters. Anyway, God bless you. God bless America. God bless us. And God bless the innocent. And please stay safe, because you are worth it.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Heart to Hearts with Erika M. If today hit a nerve, stirred a truth, or sparked a comeback, make sure to subscribe, share, and come back next Sunday when Erika talks about whatever she wants. Midlife isn't the end. It's where the story gets good and the middle gets rewritten. Your way.